Hey, did you ever want to do a custom cover for your boat, but the cost just kind of scared you away or made you decide to hold off? Well, I did sort of a compromise. Come on along, I'll show you how. First, my boat is a 14-foot deep V and it's wide. I think it's a 70 or 68 inch width on it. And you'll notice I have these fiberglass bows. Now I want to show you how those work. I bought those off Amazon. They're 1.25" fiberglass bows and they come with these rubber feet. And then you have to buy, oh, that one's a hard one to take out without two hands, but this one comes out easy. You have to buy these sockets. They sell them in pairs, and I forget what they were, about $8 per pair. And that means, so for one of these, you need two of these. So basically to pop these in, and fiberglass is really nice because it bends, but it won't take a set. And if you look down my bows, you can see it's I kind of step them up, and I run them over the seats and run them all the way to the back. I also bought a cover off of Amazon that, and the bows, I bought the bows off Amazon from one seller, and I bought the sockets from a different seller. Mounting these sockets is very simple. There's just two screws, two small screws. You pre-drill the holes and just screw them in, okay? And then cutting the fiberglass. Yeah, you notice I cut it on an angle, and what I did is I tried to match the angle of the boat, and I drew a line, and then I made my cut to match that. The idea there is to make it as custom fit as possible. And what's the purpose of the bows? Was to keep the cover taut, and it's to allow you to trailer the cover, trailer the boat with the cover on, which is really important in keeping your boat clean, protecting your boat, and overall, keeping your gear stowed, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of good reasons. So that's kind of the framing. Now I'm going to add another piece, and that is I'm going to run cord from here, from the motor to this one, and tie this one off, and then come here and tie this one off, and that one off, and that one off, and that one off, and the bow one off, and then finally hook it on the front here, so that all these ribs are connected together. And that's very important, because when those ribs are connected together, the wind can blow, and the wind will blow obviously this way as you're driving down the freeway, say, and that helps hold these from flipping over. As you can see, these have a tendency, they're not, they're tight, but they're great for taking weight, but they're not so good for taking this kind of a force. So I've found by tethering them together and then tying them at the front, you can protect those and keep them for a lot longer, because otherwise they splinter down here in the sockets as this twists. So I'll show you how I do that here in just a second. So what I'm using is this 1/8 inch by 50 foot paracord, and it's got a working load of 160 pounds, so that should be plenty sturdy to hold that together. So I had to make some tie downs. It started with this little D-ring. This thing's like, I think it came with a piece of furniture I had or something, I don't know, but we never used it. A stainless screw, a stainless washer, a finish washer they call this, and you basically put it together like that, and then I'm going to screw it in. Now I'll show you up here. Put the one up front, And I have this, there's the finish washer with this fastened down with this D-ring. And that's what I'll tie one end of the paracord to. And then I'll tie this to the other end. So I'll put one of these setups on the back. So wrapping the paracord is a little bit of a process. And what you need to do is you start in the middle and work to both ends. That's probably the easiest way. So you start with a piece, like I rolled this off and I took some of the twist out of it. That's kind of important as well. It makes it a lot easier to work with. And then I have, it looks like a little failure point there. I'm gonna cut that out. I'm going to put this a generous amount to go from the back to the middle of the boat, and then from the middle to the front of the boat will be another piece, and we'll then cut it off. So we'll start with a generous piece, because there is a frayed end right here. Right there is a little fraying. That just came with it that way. I don't think I did that, but maybe I did. Anyways, so I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go generous because I want to have more than I need, because I'm going to wrap several wraps around each one of these bows. And that's very important because that helps make everything tight. And then I will tape them too with good duct tape. So there's to the middle. I guess I'll start right here. And bear in mind, I'm going to start on here, and I'm going to make these overlap each other. And then I'll slide them to the middle, and then I'll tape them. But once I do the overlap, I'll maybe make 2 overlaps and crisscross them, so they don't have a tendency to move too much. And then I'll tie them down here. Tying them is a little tricky when you got a big bundle of them. So I think what I'm going to do is I got that first one made. And you definitely want to move from the middle out, because each one needs to be tight to the next, or it's not going to do you a whole lot of good. Well, I got the paracord unraveled, and I ran it out the garage. And now I'm going to measure off enough of a generous supply. I figured I'd go a few extra feet. Do it. And cut it. I think I want to heat this up at the end, probably melt it. And if you watch, I'm just tying overhead knots on these and pulling them through. See, I kind of lost track of it. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to tie another overhand knot. And just melt that plastic a little bit, and then take my fingers and kind of bounce them on there to stick it down. And I might do it twice. That way it won't come apart later. It's pretty simple. After you get all the knots tied on and the crisscrosses and everything, and you'll notice when you start and go to the front, you tie the knots and they tend to fall on the back, on the side you're headed toward, and then when you go down here, it's the opposite. So, but as long as they're knotted and tied up, you're fine. It works fine. So I'm now going to push these all to the middle. And bear in mind, you're going to want this to be as straight line as possible. So I'm kind of using the boat, these two front boat seats, because they're centered, kind of as a centering point. And then I will pull it taut. I gotta make sure they're centered as best I can do. Now it's time to tie off to our little clip, and for that I'll just again use a series of knots stacked. Make it snug, and bear in mind wind will blow these and it'll tighten it up as well. I don't finish tie anything. I mean, like at the end there, I'm gonna trim it off and heat it, and then I'll tape over it, but I'm not gonna do that until the very end when I'm satisfied I have the best arrangement of knots and slats. Once I have that, then I'll finish the end pieces. But I'm thinking I'm gonna do something simple, utilizing the motor as a tie-off point for the back. I was gonna use 2 of those D-rings, but I'm not sure I need to. The motor actually has some tie-off points that I think will work just fine. So I've chosen to use this point as my tie-off because it's one of the bolts that tightens the. This is the lever to tightening the motor, and the motor's on there pretty good, so that thing's not moving. So I'm going to run my loop through there, but first I'm going to use a system I've learned a long time ago where you tie a little loop in this line and then we run this through, run it through there, and run it through there. And then I can pull it, so as you can see, I can pull it tight and then just pinch it. And now all of our bows are nice and tight. And I'll trim this off. And that's the system I use for trailering a boat cover. Now the other final piece I'll do is I'll take, and up here on these knots, I'll wrap some duct tape around them so that they stay put, so that they don't slide side to side. And there you have it. Now I put my good cover I bought off Amazon, and it's a trailerable cover. I'll put it over this. So here's a quick display. There's the tie down. You can see I just got an extra piece here, and this is a loop I can pull, and that'll pop it loose. And then it comes up, and each knuckle's been taped with some aggressive, I believe it's some good Scotch masking tape. And I just crisscrossed it. I just basically ran the tape over and back and wrapped it on itself, and then terminates down here on the clip, which I did just square knots all the way, and then at the end I taped the whole shooting match, so it's nice and tight. And there you have it. But I mean, it's amazing how sturdy this thing becomes when you add the cord. Well, here she is in all her glory. And she looks pretty good. I got this Classic Accessories off Amazon. I think my whole boat cover system ran about $325 shipped to my door. And I'm hoping that this works out. I'll let you know if it doesn't in the comments below. But it looks good to me. So hey, thumbs up. So hey, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I'd appreciate if you'd like, share, and subscribe. And tell your friends. You know, I'm trying to do a little channel and show people little tidbits of things that I do and hopefully make your life better and make your fishing go longer. So I know it sure helps to have a good cover for a boat. I've had both bad covers and good covers, and a good cover makes all the difference. Anyways, I hope you catch a lot of fish, and thanks for watching.